I am Mark Stewart Greenstein, Stewart for Liberty, candidate for town council this year, and I did get a questionnaire that I'd like to expound upon. One question from the League of Women Voters said, what do you suggest the town do with money designated for COVID relief? So my suggestion may sound incendiary. The answer is, well, one, take what you can get if the state is offering it to everyone. But advocate for no relief dollars from anyone to anyone because of the huge sprawl of government that it keeps bringing on and the hurt to children. Because with every dollar funded, there's a dollar or more indebted. More because there's interest. And who's paying that? Young kids. It is not fair to them. Because unless you are fighting for life on a respirator, I contend the people most suffering from this pandemic are children. They have been routinely deprived of things that kids should be able to do. Even worse, they've been for the last 19 months subject to an unnatural, un-American process of covering our faces. Okay, we used to be afraid of men in black with face masks. They were possibly hoodlums or bank robbers. Now this is becoming normal. A 9-year-old who has spent the last 19 months seeing everyone around her in school covered up. That's a quarter of her conscious life, assuming 3-year-old is the first time of consciousness. A quarter of her life looking at what is not normal. And it's not necessary. Children are not in danger from this disease. Children are occasionally acquiring it, but they're not getting hospitalized. So what would I do for the benefit of older people who are getting hospitalized? It has little to do with money. Transferring money is useless when transferring care, transferring compassion, and communication are what older people need to stay safe and become well if they're afflicted. Ask any 85-year-old grandma, would she rather have a heightened chance of a disease, even a deadly disease, or have her grandkids be able to flourish instead of being subject to so many restrictions on their lives? As for the money part, the 85-year-olds that we're protecting, they have a lot of money on the whole. Okay? Look at wealth statistics. The average 85-year-old American has nearly 50 times the wealth of the average 35-year-old American. Okay? Money does very little for older, well-off people. But access, having their kids around, is precious. It's why so many elders here regret when their kids are moving out of state for another job. I had 2 proposals, and I still have them. Farmington should allow access units on people's property. Right now, zoning regulations don't allow a second structure on, say, a half-acre or 1-acre lot. It's 1 per family. Wouldn't it be nice if Grandma could be just steps away in a home of her own, but with easy access to her kids and her grandkids? Safety is there. If there's a problem, we're steps away. Compatibility and compassion are steps away, yet she can live independently. Now, we do have in Farmington some very good elder homes, okay? My dad was in senior living for 8 years, and we have 3 of them in the center of town here in Farmington. This is good, but notice, with the COVID restrictions, we youngers who want to see our elders are really restricted, because we're bringing in possibly a disease that imperils everybody else. So it's bad across the board because of pandemic and better if we could have this zoning change. One other change that not only have I proposed, I've done. I have funded, it didn't go far, but I have funded mobile access vehicles with ventilators, called Revamp. And I set this up at the end of March of 2020. I mean, springing into action pretty fast so that recreational vehicles could be refitted for medical professionals to be able to have people near their homes, not have to be heading to a hospital, and only in the direst emergencies might they be transferred to the hospital. But the care and the awareness that a medical professional has to have would be close to home, and the patients could be visited by their family. It was called Revamp, Recreational Vehicles Assisting Medical Professionals. We still may need it. Let's hope it doesn't grow. I'll talk more about the pandemic and Farmington in the next video.